Well, it's a bad day for my Kubota L260, old tractor. I was running the backhoe, and I probably reached back from the hoe and grabbed the throttle bar a little too hard. It revved up like normal, and then there was just a funny tone, something strange. It had like a boop, 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 boop. It was running, it was moving the backhoe, but it was moving it kind of slow, even though I had the thing wound up. And it was really, I find out it was firing on one hole, firing on the lead hole. I was hoping it was airbound because I had pretty much run the tank just about out of fuel. And so I was thinking it was starting to suck air and it just needed the lines purged. So I cracked the ferrules and thinking it's going to get better. When it was running on one hole, which was real hard starting, but it was running on one hole, if I cracked this line, I mean, it would just plummet. It would cut right out. When I cracked this one, no change. So I knew this one was pretty bad. I mean, I've had it really cracked open. Finally, I took both lines off and cranked the thing over, and I could see I'm getting fuel out of here and not out of here. And also, I had road fuel in it, and I had just put, when I refilled it, I put red fuel. I had red coming out of here, and I still had clear sitting in this one. So I knew it was not plunging at all. Pull this cover, my spring is broke. So it's in two pieces. My plunger is not coming down to get filled with fuel, so it's not creating the injection event. And now I have to figure out how to actually get that spring out and where I can get a new one. So if anybody knows where I can get a spring for a Nippon Denso PES2A 65B210RND358 off of a Kubota L260, that would be really helpful. It's a really old rare pump, Nippon Denso PES2A, but that 09000 number, that's the one that you need. Denso is still got the springs, but not just anybody can get them. You got to get them through a pump shop. So I'm waiting to hear if they're going to get drop shipped or not. Oh well, it's one thing or another. Never fails, right? Got the new springs. Pull your injection line. Loosen this up. Pull your delivery valve holder. Careful not to lose nothing, because there's a spring inside. Got a little metallic parts pin. Put that down. Now we got to pull this delivery valve, if I can. Careful not to lose it. And then we got this guy right here. Now that right there is the bottom portion. So your delivery valve is like a two-piece, male and female. So that's the female socket. It's got a Teflon seal on it, some threads. Don't booger them threads up. You rock it back and forth and twist it around a little, it'll come straight up. And that's what's down in there. I guess that's going to be the barrel, and the plunger's in the center. So we got to come down here. And I think what we're doing now is loosening up this flat blade screw, which is clamping the barrel shaft to the rack. Now this just came out on its own. It's a spring seat. It sits on the bottom, obviously the thin shoulder like that to register that spring in there. But mine is snapped, so it's all falling down and pieces are falling out. Okay, I got this tired old pump, one side stripped down. And here's pretty much the layout. See, this is the cam follower that's underneath the spring. Rides in a bore. It's got a roller. Look how bad mine is. Oh my lord. Man, that looks terrible. But it did run pretty good. So here's your first piece. And that has a notch, so it can only go in one way. On top of that, I believe it runs the spring seat. Yep. Then comes your spring. Then comes your top retainer. Okay, and that makes up your spring assembly. I have no idea how I'm going to get this back in. It's a pretty serious spring. This guy here's got a knurl to it. I don't know if you can tell. Yeah, see the knurl? Now, it's got a slot in there, and this is your plunger, and it's got a slot, a T to it, okay, on the bottom. And it's got this little whistle cut. That's your helix cut. And that goes inside of your barrel. Your barrel has this notch, and that lines up facing outboard. See that pin right there, and that pin right there? And I guess this is maybe an inspection hole. I'm not sure. I tried to break one loose and it wouldn't go. But that's to make sure that your barrel is tanged in where it belongs. Because your plunger is going to plunge up and down, but it's also going to roll like this. And that's going to change the timing of your spill port aligning with that helix notch. Your spill port is this. It's that hole right through there. You can see it. So that's your spill port right there. This little gear rack collar goes on top of that spline right here, and these teeth engage in the rack that is back in here. Okay, see that thing's moving, see those teeth? Kind of like an old knuckle boom. It's got a hydraulic piston that goes side to side, and it's got gear teeth in it, a rack and pinion. So that's your rack, and this is your pinion. So I'll call this a pinion collar. Now mine is all chewed up. Not great. Now that clamps onto here. So I already know there's a good chance that I'm going to have problems. But the reality is I ain't got $1,000 to send this pump out. If I did send it out, they'd say, man, this thing is smoked and it needs a ton of work. And the tractor was only $1,000. So you know what? I need the thing to make me money. If it makes me money, it can buy another tractor. If it doesn't run completely perfect, so what? It never did, and it never will. The thing needs bearings in the transmission, needs this, needs that. Who cares? So on top of this whole charade is this guy. Okay? And it sits like that. Now that is a machine surface. It's very important that you take care of that surface. All right? Both of these have to be good and clean or they will not seal. And that holds the two together, make your delivery valve. Oops. Of course, okay, there we go. So this is your delivery valve and delivery valve holder. That's the spring, and then this is, I guess I don't know, call it whatever you want, the cap. So that compresses the spring. And what this does is it prevents a dribble. It prevents the fuel in the pipe from dribbling out, and it prevents a weak injection event. So the spring has to be overcome by that shot of fuel. So all of a sudden that pipe gets a serious pressure spike of fuel, which pops the similar type of spring in the injector, and then there's the injection event. And that's all there is to it. These egg governors have their own separate oil chamber from the plunging unit. So there's a dipstick right here, and there's a drain down at the bottom. It's a little hex. I can't really get it, but there's a hex down there. And here, there's two plugs to drain that thing, and you can't, they're hex, like Allen plugs, and you cannot get to them. Just pure and simple, you cannot get to them. So that's an issue, because this thing is so washed down with diesel fuel, like the crankcase of the pump, you have to manually put gear oil in there. So there's the dipstick for that one, and it goes in this hole. It does not get lubrication from the engine. The only thing that we've got in this is an overflow line that'll just leak out excess on the ground, which is what you see dripping in this pan right now. That didn't work. I don't think it can be done. It's time to pull the pump. You just got to pull off your overflow valve to your return line, which I slung up here. Pull your lines off. Top rod goes to the top lever, bottom rod goes to the bottom lever. So this one's the shut off, this one's the actual foot pedal. I remember having to pull that cap to have clearance. These two are easy. The top one's pretty easy, and then there's one in the back that's a bear, and I think I remember having to do this line. Pump pulls back this way. Obviously got to pull your main feed. And there's a gear on the front that's got a 6-tooth gear. It looks like a PTO shaft. It plugs into the timing gear. There's marks on it. It's easy to get it a whole tooth out, like, and they're 30-degree increments, so it'll run crazy bad if you get it out. The whole concept of these being slotted and you being able to roll this pump around is not really, there's it's not realistic. So don't worry about that. Wherever you can get the thing to go back on and the lines to hook up, just throw it on there. All right, by far the worst part of getting this pump off is the bottom bolt on the back side. Now, there's a banjo bolt and the drain line in your way, okay? So right now you got a really clear view. I've got the glow plug out, the glow plug wiring swung out of the way, all that. Once you get the line cracked, and not the line. Once you get that bolt broke loose, with just a plain old box wrench and then a double box wrench on top for leverage, then you can get in there with basically this rig right here. A couple swivels, you got to come in at a far enough angle to start getting that nut off. And then you can roll the pump a little, and that gives you a bunch more clearance, okay? So that's the very last thing. And then I'm going to pull this pump straight back. You see that little mark right there? It's on the front too. Okay, it's right there and it's right there. You see that one right there? There's your timing mark. It's that simple, very easy. It doesn't matter about being at TDC. You can move it to anywhere you need it. I'll roll the engine until that mark is out here, and I'll roll the pump wherever the springs are happy with it, where I can see it. I'll slide that in. Step one, jam something in this lever right here that aligns the screw bracket, the slot, straight out, okay? Because that's the easiest place to stick this one back into the rack. Straight in, boop, like that, okay? Now the next thing, put the spring in a vise, zip tie it, put the seat on top, and wedge that down in there. And then we're just going to drop this in. Right now I don't have the lower seat in, but that's in there. And then I come in with this, drop that into the rack, then slide this guy up, and then tighten the screw. And then we take the seat, put it under. This is the way it goes, okay? Slot goes in. So put that seat like that, and then cut your zip ties. Now, this is a very important thing, because you can get your plungers 180 out. See that little flute lines up with the spill port. You see that tang. So this is the spill port, that round hole. This tang gets located. There's a little pin right there. This barrel is going to lock into that pin so it can't move. But this little whistle looking jobby, the plunger, it is going to be rotated by this piece that's already inside the spring that has a notch inside. So this, see, there's two sides on this. One it says L, and the other it says 184.5. 184.5 is going to face outward with the spill port. This gets loaded down into that assembly, so you've got to get right there. You got to get to this stage. That collar is in the rack. The collar is inside of this spring. There's a black thing. You can't really see it. The top seat is on. This is going to get slid down in this orientation. And then the bottom seat washer is going to get clipped. And it has to clip onto the bottom of that plunger tang so that the plunger is pulled down every time to get another reload of fuel. Let me get that in there. Do yourself a favor, put a marker line. Okay, when it's all lined up, put a line, because you can't tell once you drop it in the hole. If those inspection plugs won't come out, which mine won't, you can't tell. See that? See that little pin sticking out the bottom? That's where we need to put this clip. Just like that. Pretty sure we're ready to cut them zip ties and try to get them out of there. Underneath this cap is your rack. This is the rack. Do not mess with that nut or bolt or whatever. Make sure your cap is not full of varnished crap hole of fuel or moisture. That will freeze in the wintertime. If your rack is sticking, stand the pump up and put lubrication right there, and it'll sink in. It'll float down in there, and it'll lubricate the whole shaft, and it will lubricate the teeth on the rack that are behind these little collars right here. If that rack doesn't completely move and return all the way, you're risking a runaway. When you put this back on, you might want to leave your cap off just to be sure, so that if it does run away, you can just shut it down right here. Now this little bolt right here is an air bleed. See that hole? You see that slot? When you first put this back on and you prime your plunger, you just screw that out and pump your hand plunger, and it's going to let all the air out of the top of that galley. And in here, you've got a spring and a check ball. It's inside this big banjo bolt to the return line. That is the overflow valve that's going to set the pressure inside of the low pressure galley. You got to have about 15 pounds in there. You could put a gauge on, and if you have a gauge on, you'll see the gauge going like this. If it's working right, it'll be like 15 to 18 or 10 to 12. You know, if it's a little low, you can stretch the spring and it'll come up 2 or 3 psi. But you got to have a good 10 pounds in there for the fuel to get in on the bottom of the stroke, so that it can get punched up for that high pressure. Okay, so when we're talking about timing these old PES pumps, don't even worry about these marks right here, about rotating it. It's going to line up where the hard pipes had it. You're not going to advance the timing without doing some bending on those fuel pipes. What you need to get right, you see that little line right there? Pull this back. See that line at 12 o'clock? They need to come together.